Obviously, that was a really good win for us, and I was proud of our team for being resilient. And we started really slow. Defense kept us in the game, and offense, we couldn't get any rhythm, drop passes and penalties. And our success on offense is based on running the ball, play pass, throwing it, mixing it up, change of direction. And when you have penalties and don't catch the football, it's tough for us to have much success. We really played well in special teams. We had a blocked field goal that I think was low without watching the tape, but we got a lot out of our punter, and him as a kickoff guy. We got double teamed one time on a big return, but I thought overall that we were pretty good in special teams with our new faces, and certainly good on defense. We were able to get pressure on the quarterback at times early in the game. We couldn't get a lot of pressure. We made some adjustments in the second half. We were getting more pressure, and we wanted to be more physical than they were in the running game. And early we were very poor at that, but as the game moved on, we felt like we became more physical than they were on both sides of the ball, running it and defending the run. And so we wanted to stay with that and allow JW to take advantage of his ability. When he came in, it gave us a little bit of spark, and so we stayed with him. But I'm very proud of our team. There's always uncertainty early in the season, especially when you play not necessarily on the road, neutral site, but not at home. You never know how the young men are going to react. So they traveled, they prepared, they traveled with class, handled themselves the right way, and obviously played well enough to win the game.
Mike, can you talk about the decision to put in JW 2 series into the game, and then with him playing the rest of the way, does he now emerge as the starter going forward?
Yeah, he'll be our starter in the next game. We had plans to play him in the third series. We weren't very good, obviously, in the first two, and then when JW came in, he kind of gave us a spark, and we certainly couldn't make an adjustment at that time. And so we just continued to move forward from that point on.
Did his 46-yard run change the complexion of the game?
Well, it certainly did for us, because before that, we hadn't done anything. I mean, we were about as blah as that we've ever been, for the reasons that I mentioned earlier. I believe that the concerns we had early on offense in this game was the same thing that I had told our local media for months, is that when you try to get two quarterbacks ready, it's difficult. And then we had some guys playing on the offensive line that are new for the most part. You're always concerned about that. I don't think we gave up a sack, so I was pleased with that. But I don't think there's any question the story of the game for us is our defense. And there hadn't been many games at Oklahoma State over the last 5 or 6 years, maybe even longer than that, where defense is a story. And so it's a team game, but defense certainly kept us in and allowed the offense to get things going third and fourth quarter.
Did you change something? The defense was that they got some yards in the first quarter, but didn't get any points. And then after that, you kind of controlled it. You changed something?
Yeah, you're right. We weren't very good really in the first two series. They went right down the field on us, and we allowed them to convert third and in what I call extra long, and we weren't getting enough pressure. You can't let them stand back there for 5 seconds. They made some adjustments on some alignments and some techniques up front. Glenn and Joe Bob did a nice job there, and we were able to get more pressure on them. But I think really what happened is up front on both sides of the ball, we wore them down as the game went on, and we had more energy than they had, and we were able to get to them.
Did you anticipate being able to get that sort of shift in terms of the late game?
No. You never know in the first game. I'd have slept better the last 2 weeks if I'd have been able to anticipate that. But, the truth is that we felt like, and again, I can't speak for their camp, but we felt like that they were going to try to wear us down up front and try to pound on us with their running game. They're bigger than we are up front, considerably bigger. And so our plan going in was to, if we didn't have success, it wasn't going to be because they just lined up and pounded us and we couldn't get the ball back. Essentially, we had to stop the run, and then we had to run the football on offense.
Mike, when you said that JW gave you a spark, which there was a noticeable spark, it didn't really result in a lot of production, no points for several series. What did you see, even when he was in and the offense wasn't moving, that you liked?
Well, we moved the ball a little bit, and again, I can't remember for sure, and we had penalties. We had a couple penalties, but we actually had some rhythm and some momentum. And the running game that was added to our offense by Coach Yurcich played to his favor today because Mississippi State struggled with defending it, and obviously we could see that. We were getting chunks and we have a penalty, but we're still getting chunks, and we were getting in the open field running the ball. So that part played in his favor. Similar like when we played Washington State a few years ago and we were in the diamond and they hadn't seen it, and we went up and down the field the first couple quarters. Similar to that, first game of the year, an unorthodox blocking scheme and set. And, I mean, in my opinion, they struggled with it, and it was obvious that we needed to keep running it.
You say JW's going to start next week. Do you anticipate any kind of two-quarterback system next week, or is it going to be
No, Clint's very, very important to us, and I'm not trying to just make him feel good or justify anything, but I haven't talked with Coach Yurcich, haven't talked with anybody, but after what happened today, I can't imagine that we won't feel like that JW needs to start the next game. You know, we'll talk to Clint, and he's been great for us, and things didn't go well early. Could he have had another opportunity, 2 or 3? I think maybe Barry was talking about. Sure could have, but we had to make a decision as a coaching staff that what direction we were going, and we felt like we were getting bigger plays and had guys running in the open field more with the schemes that we were using that played to his advantage. If it wouldn't have been that way, I don't know that I could answer that question right now.
Did you like the way JW threw today? It seemed like the longer the game went on, the more effective he was throwing.
No, that's exactly right. The first ball or 2 he threw, he hit, and then he had a couple guys open, he threw it in the dirt, and I wasn't fired up then. But what you're saying is right. As the game went on, he became a more effective thrower. And, you know, you've watched us, Barry, for years. It's because we were running the ball. When we're running the ball, we're effective throwing quarterbacks. You know, with the exception of when we had Whedon here. You know, I mean, we ran the ball well, but it didn't matter. You had an NFL quarterback, you can throw it all the time. So he was effective, just like Clint was last year when we were running the football. We were not running the football effectively in those first 2 series.
Mike, since you've been coaching here, has that had as good a defensive performance against a quality team that you've had?
Yes. You know, the truth is, I mean, I haven't looked at my phone, but I'm sure all my buddies I grew up with, you know, that's what everybody's going to talk about. And we were bad on offense, you know, in the first 20 minutes of the game. And our defense kept us in it. You know, if the defense doesn't play well and challenge Mississippi State and get some good stops and get an interception, we're playing catch-up. Catch-up's not fun to play when you're in an offense that we were in and trying to run the ball effectively based on option. So I would agree with what you're saying.
Does it make you feel good? I mean, because that's an SEC offensive line, pretty well respected. I mean, the way y'all hung around with them, once you figured out what you're doing.
My concern coming into the game, as I had said for several weeks, months, is them. You know, they're big up front. I think they're average 326 on the offensive line, and just them pounding on us, and whether we could get the effort. Now, it's really early, and I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse, but I felt like that we were more athletic and more talented up front than we have been in the years I've been here as the head coach. And so this was a good step for us. We still have a lot of work, but I think we made some progress.
Mike, is it in a strange way, I know you're happy with a win anytime, but it was really, and maybe we're idiots, don't comment on that, but we thought it might have gone the other way, that the offense would have been really crisp and clean, and the defense might have struggled, and the game actually went completely the opposite, and you still got a convincing win. So is that a better victory in a way, a more well-rounded win?
Well, and if you bring the last 7 years of evidence to the table, you wouldn't see it going this way with Oklahoma State. I mean, nobody would have predicted that. But there were some issues, some things I was concerned about with our offense throughout preseason. We lost our left tackle, who was a really, really good player for us, and we had a couple other guys that got banged up and missed the last 7 or 10 days of practice. At one point, not that it matters, but just information, at one point our top 3 tackles were out and didn't practice for about a week. And so that makes it difficult. Not your first 2, but the number 3 guy. You always try to get 3 tackles, 3 guards, and hopefully 2 centers. We've never been lucky enough to have 4 tackles, 4 guards, and 2 centers. We haven't been that fortunate with experience and guys that we felt comfortable about putting in. And we had all 3 guys out at one time. And so our production in practice as an offense was not very good, which affects the quarterback's timing, which affects the running game, which affects the coach's psyche, the way they think. I'm sure it did with Yursich. I just didn't say anything and act like it was normal. But, you're calling plays in practice and you have a hard time getting plays off against your defense because your top 3 tackles, that can mess with you a little bit as a play caller. It did me when I was doing it. So to answer your question, yes. We got those guys, Parker, Graham, we got him back Wednesday. Finally, Wednesday practiced a little bit. And I think he's probably, 80% or whatever. But he didn't practice for quite a while, and Koning was out for quite a while, and obviously Devin's out. So there was just some things happen that you can't control in preseason camp. And don't get me wrong, it happens everywhere. Everybody has issues in preseason camp, but it was just kind of real specific for us, and it was unusual. But it worked out for us. And to answer your question, yes, it's nice to be able to not feel like you're so stressed to score every time that your defense is having success. And I told them after the game today, it's awesome, but that's one game. You have to maintain through a stretch here. You've got to do it in October, and you got to do it in November and next week. And but obviously they're off to a good start.
Last question, Coach.
Mike, you had some harmful big penalties, and they seem to come not from your linemen, they seem to come from your skill guys.
Yep.
Doing stuff on the edge.
What's funny is I mentioned that pregame at the hotel. I do my pregame talk I do at the hotel. I'm not a big locker room guy. And I asked him, I said, you guys watched the Texas Tech and SMU game, because I watched it last night. And the same thing happened to them. And I mentioned it to them that they had numerous penalties on the perimeter that kept them from getting big plays. And sure enough, it happened to us, which is somewhat uncharacteristic for us. I guess they were legitimate holds because they were calling them, but you're exactly right. And that kept us from really kind of taking control of the game late in the third quarter. If we don't have a couple of those penalties, we go up maybe by 4 touches, and it's we were in control, but not complete control. So you're exactly right, and those are things we have to clean up. We have to continue to work on kickoff protection. We have to eliminate penalties on the perimeter. I think we put one ball on the ground. Jeremy put it on the ground. They didn't get it. And then just continue to get better at putting pressure on the quarterback. Because ultimately, with most of the offenses that you play during the season, if you put pressure on the quarterback, you have a chance. Got a chance to be successful on defense. So,
Thanks, Coach.
all right.
What would you players right outside? Anybody say